Mobius Lesson 8A homework question number 4. The body mass index, BMI, is a number that is often used to determine if an individual is a healthy weight. The function for finding an individual's BMI is f of WH equals 720W all over h squared, which could also be written as f of WH equals 720W divided by h squared, where W equals weight in pounds and H equals height in inches. Use the BMI function to find the BMI for individuals with the following weights and heights. Round your answer to the nearest tenth. Over here on the right, I have our function notation, f of W and H, and a reminder of the order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or PEMDAS, or PEMDAS, however you want to remember it. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is rewrite our function, and this is 720W. And even though the order of operations goes from left to right, just to help signify that this is all on the numerator, I'm going to just do 720 in parentheses, just so that I know all of this is above h squared. Now, there we go. We can do the caret, or we can do a superscript here with the font, either way. The order of operations I would multiply before I divide because I go from left to right anyway, but I'm just going to do that just to make it look kind of nice. All right, and I have all of these options over here, and so we're going to go ahead and plug it in by hand for the first one, just like we've been doing, and then go ahead and show you how to do it with Excel, which will speed this up dramatically. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this, Control C to copy, Control V to paste, and we're going to substitute in the first one. We have a weight of 116 pounds and a height of 64 inches. And then for each of these, we're going to substitute over here. And just like I did before, each of these variables I'm going to replace with parentheses, just so that I make sure everything gets in there and I don't get confused with any notation. So the first one was for the weight, and this is 116, and H right here, I'm going to substitute for the 64. And then go through my order of operations. So I don't have any parentheses necessarily. These are just signifying that I have some separation and some multiplication. If you want to put multiply there, you can. In Excel, we will have to, but by hand, you understand where that goes. Okay, so we're going to do the exponent first because the order of operations tells us we need to. We're going to copy and paste and do 64 squared first. This gives me 4,096. There we go. And then again, going back to the order of operations, now that we have the parentheses and exponents taken care of, we're going to multiply and divide from left to right. So here we're going to multiply these and then divide by 4,096. So let's highlight this for the next step, copy and paste. 720 times 116, there we go. 720 times 116, I have to do this on a calculator because that's not something I'm going to spend time doing by hand. There we go. 83,520. I'm going to type that in one more time just to make sure I didn't make a typo. Everything looks good. Okay, so then we just need to divide. Again, I'm going to copy and paste just so that you can see all of my steps. And now we can divide this by 4,096, which gives me 20.390625, and so on. And we were asked to round the answer to the nearest tenth. So that's right here. The 9 will round up the 3 to a 4. So our answer will be 20.4. Now I'm going to go ahead and go through Excel, which will make this dramatically faster. So to type in our formula, we're going to do equals, and we can do the parentheses like we did in the other one. We don't have to, but because the order of operations will multiply those first anyway. 720. Now I do have to put a times here between the 720 and the W because Excel doesn't know that you have to tell it to multiply. So we're going to multiply that by the weight, which is over here, the cell in this one. And since we all have these lined up, when we click and drag, it'll continue referencing those cells. Then we're going to divide by the height, cell reference here, and then Shift 6 to square this, press enter, and that was much faster. Now if I didn't want to have to remember to round that, we can go ahead and change the up here. We can change the format to see less of the decimal, less or more. And since we're rounding to the nearest tenth, it can even round for us, which is really fast too. And double clicking will fill in the rest of our chart just in this corner, or you can click and drag if you would rather. And that is done. 25.6, so fast. 28.4 and 28.3. Then we can go back to the how did I do, but I am going to double check that I didn't make any typos just to make sure. 116, 174, 222, 204, 64, 70, 75, 72. It's amazing how many of these little mistakes can throw everything off. I did 720, I squared, all of that's in there correctly, and because I clicked and dragged, all of those will be the same, and they all look good. So we can move on to the next one.